I'm by the large rock out back. It's changed little in its span. 7 times from now it might elongate or flatten slightly. A hummingbird spins his brief moment. His ruby squares into itself like a rangefinder of an expensive camera, and then the frame is emptied again. Downstream, a tree divides water. The turbulence is tranquility. I'm leaving this spot for more beer and cigarettes. The moss in the stream is moving, but the water is standing still. This one's for my Uncle John, Melancholy Rain. On rainy days, I often think of Uncle John. In the 10th year of his death, I consider the state of the box he's in, and how the weight of mud and clay has by now poked through the unsealed caves of his stubborn, blue-eyed Irish skull. I remember when he'd sit by the window, the peculiar way he looked out to rain. At such time he said once, "A mechanic always has a buck in his pocket. Don't ever forget that, Bill," he repeated, through a concentrated stream of camel smoke. And I never did forget what he said. I never did. Wet road. A broken headlight obscures the road not quite focused. Trees and poles flip across the sheep standing through the hills. Other homes pass by, barely illuminating the forms within. In moonless air, I aim lines through a mist around hypnotic turns. Rimfire compresses distance under my hands of pins and needles, asleep at the wheel. And going through the 4th section, another haiku. Sunday junkyard, the watchdog yawns steam at the falling snow. Memorial Day. Cold air, the first wet kiss before wine soured your mouth rises from the leaves. I swore I'd never swill a past of Pickwick ale and pig's feet. The bars are grinding the ancient jigs and polkas of hearts like muscled fists. Fuck the tattoos and the broken doors, we're talking about a generation. The cathedrals are too tall to part the rain. The priests are hard enough to listen to the hopeless woman who whisper their respect. I'm the age my father died. The prison and the bay will never teach me to butcher hogs and piece-burned matches into a crucifix of varnished time. South Boston weeps of an emerald, seldom seen by a sober descendant. So the leaves of this grave scuttle away like stiff crabs, and I'm dry as pit gravel. I head for the Blue Moon Cafe. Turtle vest. I'm wearing a vest of turtle shells. I am likely to be shot when it's time. The vest is not foolproof, but when the fragments of turtle shell implode the sunshine of my last wine vision, I should be there a few moments longer than I would have. In the rain. Somewhere it's raining frogs. They don't unfold like fox and squirrel into a glide. Heavy with success, they spatter through the trees, swamping the hills. Downwind in the once burly city, a tavern clings to the industry of grind and holt. A tax collector drinks one for balance. They're forecasting stones big as grapefruits, he says to a hand holding a drink. But who can say, he murmurs, and steps out into the quiet path of things to come. Poem. Tonight I have drunk myself into a very splendid evening. I'm out back on a marvelous rock, leaning against the old bark of one rather agreeable maple tree. I feel so good, I begin to sing, quite professionally. A house away, the bedroom light throws its beams across the distance. The neighbor's dog pulls at his leash and barks, so I'm trespassing on my own side of the fence. And lights from my house begin to signal me to come in. But there's no place to go to save this glow of mine. The keys to the fury are in my wife's purse. How suddenly the evening ends. I throw the empty into the trash and wander in. Myself. And now, my man, my little fellow, now that you're here like a smudge in the back of my mind, what do we do with you? You can't sit around naked like this on top of my piano like a young Sinatra, unless you can sing like an angel. And stop swinging your feet back and forth like nudists just learning to relax. If I'm to be hen mother, you better find plumage. Oh, now you're indignant. Okay, then let's get you dressed. No, you can't wear my wife's blouse. Why? Because you're not the type. Not the engineering boots or the elevator shoes. Okay, the elevator shoes and a cowboy hat. Yes, a white one. No, you can't go to the lobby for a drink dressed that way. Okay, perhaps my plaid scarf does add measure. Here, take my salty peppered beard and my closet clothes. Take my copy watch and the keys to the fury. Hold it, just a minute. The white hat and elevator shoes, thank you. Now go, and don't let on to anyone that I even exist. Cheesecake. I have this overwhelming urge for cheesecake until I actually eat it. Whenever I do, I swear it will be my last piece. And wine, how I love wine, except when I eat cheesecake. It goes down salty like blood. Cheesecake is unique, but it just doesn't go with wine. The apple. I'm looking at myself in the mirror. For the first time, I notice my beard is more land than sea. As I ruminate, I watch with hypnotic detachment the half-eaten apple. Into the bucket, wasteful I know, but I have 6 trees loaded with apples and cannot bear to see myself like this, empty, buried in abundance. If only this fruit could leap back into the tree, if only the mother in my hazel eye could turn into herself, like a ripple reversed, smoothed back, the clouds passing, the sky perfectly reflected, as if my father never waded in. My daughter couldn't be here tonight because she's expecting a baby momentarily. And I wanted to read this for her, poem for a daughter. And it's one of my older poems. I sketch my mouth in a smile, still it is sad. My eyes, my nose, my ears are sad. I cross a mark darkly over the sketch, over my father's receding hairline. I remember when he looked like me now. I wonder how his bones are. His marrow fed the roots of this tree. To dig here and hold this skull in my hands. My mother has grown old. Her grief has lost its voice through the years. But how can one remember love so long? Before my grandmother was, an old Roman digging in her garden drifted back to a time to a love. Before Columbus. In her youth she conceived someone with a nose just like mine. Oh, how she marvel I eat with her tongue, and the things I taste. Ah, to discuss them with her. She could swallow me, and I her. A sea would slide down a dark well. Generations' tadpoles would emerge into a swamp of rising water, mist, where faces take shape. My daughter grows great. What a voyage the ocean of her womb harbors. A seahorse spins and grows. Oh, what cargo. Now we wait. Soon we'll all look for her mother's mouth, for her uncle's nose. My sad ears.